The Second Battle of Kosovo was fought at Kosovo Polje between a coalition of the Kingdom of Hungary and Wallachia led by John Hunyadi, against an Ottoman-led coalition under Sultan Murad II. Background: in 1448, John Hunyadi saw the right moment to lead a campaign against the Ottoman Empire. After the defeat of Varna, he raised another army to attack the Ottomans. His strategy was based on an expected revolt of the Balkan people, a surprise attack, and destroying the main force of the Ottomans in a single battle. Hunyadi was totally immodest and led his forces without leaving any escort behind. In September 1448, Hunyadi led the Hungarian forces across the Danube River and camped them in Serbia next to Kovan, just outside the Serbian capital of Smederevo. For a full month the Hungarians were encamped there awaiting the German crusaders, the Wallachian Duke as well as the Bohemian and Albanian army. The Albanian army under Skanderbeg did not participate in this battle as he was prevented from linking with the Hunyadi's army by the Ottomans and their allies. It is believed that he was delayed by Turad Brankovic, then allied with Sultan Murad II, although Brankovic's exact role is disputed. As a result, Skanderbeg ravaged Brankovic's domains as a punishment for the desertion of Christian cause. The Serbian despot Turad Brankovic reacted ambiguously at the trespassing and negotiated the terms of joining the crusade against the Ottomans over that period of time. Hunyadi had told Brankovic that he had brought 20,000 of his own men, awaiting additional reinforcements, and that he, Brankovic, with his light cavalry was the only ally necessary to make this a decisive victory. Brankovic was weary, having had his realm restored after a full-scale Ottoman occupation only in 1444, and fully aware of the strength of the Ottoman military force, wanting to keep his throne. Despot Brankovic was also unwilling to set himself under Hunyadi's command under any condition, as he personally disliked him, considering him of lower stature. The central point of the dispute between Hunyadi and Brankovic was their personal quarrel. After the Peace of Sijd in 1444, which restored the Serbian despotate and Brankovic's reign in it, the Serbian despot had worked on achieving a peace in the region, hoping to remove his country from jeopardy. This had included gifting Hunyadi the Serbian despot's possessions in the Hungarian kingdom in favor of a pacifist approach. After Hunyadi eventually joined the warmongering side, Brankovic had asked for the return of his properties, which Hunyadi rejected. This led to Brankovic straining away from Hungary and getting into a closer relationship with the Ottoman Empire, in an effort to protect his realm, as well as to a strong hostility towards Hunyadi, and the negotiations ended as a failure. The Serbian rejection and positioning as a neutral side had led to Hunyadi's fury and the Crusaders' decision to treat Serbia as hostile territory. At the end of the negotiations, Hunyadi had threatened to kill Brankovic in person after his country was occupied. In late September 1448, Hunyadi had amassed 30,000 men and moved southwards. The Crusaders pillaged and burned across Serbia, but the Serb despot gave an explicit order of free passage, refusing to mount a reaction. However, he not only informed Sultan Murad II of the Crusaders' advance, out of both personal interest of friendship with the Sultan and anger towards Hunyadi, but also gave him tactical strategic advice regarding the best way to defeat the Crusaders. A plan which the Ottomans followed. The idea included letting the Europeans advance deep into Serbian territory, far away from their homeland, and then cut off their supply routes, effectively closing them in from all sides and trapping them. Battle. The Crusaders arrived at the Kosovo field, the same place the most famous battle in Kosovo in 1389, between Serbs and Ottomans, had occurred. Facing an Ottoman army of up to 60,000, Sultan Murad personally commanded a large section of cannons and janissaries, while his son and successor Mehmed, who faced battle for the first time, led the Anatolian troops at the right wing. Hunyadi commanded the center of his army at the battle, while the Crusaders' right wing was under the Wallachians. The Hungarians had long barrage cannons. The next day the battle opened when Hunyadi attacked the Ottoman flanks with mixed cavalry. The Turkish flanks, consisting of soldiers from Rumelia and Anatolia, were losing until Turkish light cavalry arrived to reinforce them. The Christian flanks were subsequently routed and the survivors retreated back to Hunyadi's main force. When Hunyadi saw the defeat of his flanks, he attacked with his main force, composed of knights and light infantry. The Janissary corps were not successful and the cavalry made progress through the Turkish center, but were stopped at the Turkish camp. When the main attack was halted, the Turkish infantry regrouped and successfully drove the Hungarian knights back. The light cavalry, who were now without the knights' support, were also overcome. Hungarian forces retreated to their camp. During the retreat, the Janissaries killed most of the Hungarian nobles and Hunyadi fled. However, Serbs later captured him. During the night, Turkish infantry fired missiles at the Hungarians, who replied with cannons. On the next day, a final assault totally annihilated the remaining Hungarian army. The two-day battle in Kosovo saw both sides take heavy casualties but left the Ottoman force in command of the field at the end of the second day. The Hungarians' army possibly amounted to 24,000 and the Turkish between 40,000 and 60,000. Aftermath: the Christian Balkan states were unable to resist the Ottomans after this defeat, eventually falling under control of the Ottoman Empire. After the battle, Hunyadi was captured by Brankovic, who didn't release him until a ransom of 100,000 florins. The return of the domains that Hunyadi had revocated from Brankovic and the engagement of Hunyadi's heir to Brankovic's daughter were agreed upon. For the remainder of his reign, Hunyadi successfully defended the Kingdom of Hungary against the Ottoman campaigns.